Residing permanently aboard a cruise vessel appears to be the perfect fantasy. Zero utility payments, no meal preparation, no household tasks. One day you're greeting crystal-clear ocean views, the next you're gazing at historic ports along the Mediterranean coast. Those around you are pleasant individuals enjoying perpetual holidays. Your residence is a floating entertainment complex featuring swimming areas and unlimited dining options. That represents the idealized vision. However, the reality differs significantly. When you look beyond the attractive marketing materials and carefully curated social media content, a completely different narrative appears, one with darker elements. This represents an aspect of shipboard residence that remains hidden from most unless they experience it firsthand. I've dedicated years to investigating this lifestyle, interviewing individuals who've maintained ocean residences for extended periods, gathering insights from staff members, and experiencing it personally. My findings may catch you off guard. The fantasy exists, yet it comes with significant compromises. This presentation will expose the troubling aspects of cruise ship residence. Every segment connects to build understanding, and ultimately, you'll grasp the full reality. The actual expenses, the concealed difficulties, and the authentic experience of making a cruise vessel your permanent address. Point 1. The mirage of perpetual opulence. We'll begin with the primary attraction for most people, the opulent lifestyle element. Cruise companies understand precisely what they're marketing: unlimited indulgence. Consider the offerings: fine cuisine nightly, theatrical productions comparable to Broadway shows, musical performances throughout every lounge area, endless pools with ocean vistas, and massage facilities just moments away by elevator. The concept suggests perpetual entertainment, constant satiation, and complete freedom from labor. Yet reality intrudes here. Extended cruise ship residence transforms that opulence into monotony rapidly. The shellfish dish that amazed you initially becomes tiresome by the 50th evening, resembling warmed-up remainders. The stand-up routine that produced tears of joy during your initial week becomes predictable by its third repetition. You anticipate every joke before delivery. Regarding the all-you-can-eat dining areas, 3 consecutive months will have you fantasizing about preparing basic breakfast items yourself simply because freshness disappears and sameness dominates. A permanent resident shared this perspective. Others imagine I'm experiencing royalty. Actually, it resembles inhabiting an unchanging vacation property. External views shift, but internally you encounter identical individuals, performances, and food selections. Luxury feelings vanish, replaced by redundancy. This represents the initial flaw in the fantasy. These vessels are constructed for brief excitement periods, not enduring habitation. Point 2. The undisclosed financial snare. Money matters require discussion now. A major promotional element for shipboard living suggests it costs less than property ownership. Surface-level analysis appears convincing. Occasionally, repositioning voyages or extended booking arrangements cost approximately $100 nightly, totaling roughly $3,000 monthly. Compared to housing costs in metropolitan areas like New York, London, or Sydney, this appears economical. Accommodation, meals, activities, and transportation combine into one fee. However, complications arise. Cruise vessels function as revenue-generating machines while floating. Every life aspect aboard encourages additional expenditure. Beverage plans, land-based activities, premium dining venues, wellness treatments, gambling opportunities, retail outlets, internet access plans, clothing cleaning charges, and mandatory service fees create an extensive list. Unlike terrestrial living, opting out proves impossible. Internet access for correspondence? $20 to $30 daily. Laundry services? $5 per garment. Even basic necessities like bottled water aren't consistently complimentary. I've interviewed individuals who anticipated $3,000 monthly expenses but ultimately doubled that amount after accounting for supplementary costs, $6,000 to $7,000 monthly just maintaining their preferred lifestyle. That exceeds numerous upscale land-based apartments. The psychological mechanism operates subtly. Aboard ship, spending feels abstract since transactions occur via your cruise card without physical currency exchange. Upon reviewing your monthly billing statement, the cumulative amount arrives with overwhelming force. Therefore, the economical luxury lifestyle frequently becomes a financial snare, subtle yet genuine. Point 3. The cabin circumstances. When imagining oceanic residence, People envision themselves in premium suites featuring balconies overlooking infinite blue expanses. They picture morning beverages enjoyed while marine mammals swim nearby. Most extended residents experience interior cabins instead.
Why?
Balcony accommodations prove financially unsustainable for continuous months. Unless possessing independent wealth, you'll likely occupy a 150-square-foot windowless compartment. Consider the perspective. Typical American bedrooms measure approximately 200 square feet, just the sleeping area. Imagine compressing your entire existence, sleeping space, wardrobe, workspace, and bathroom into that area. Then eliminate natural light. Add extremely thin barriers allowing neighbor sounds to permeate, late-night television or respiratory noises during sleep. That becomes your residence. Some individuals adjust successfully, adding decorations and familiar comfort items to create coziness. Others find the confined spaces increasingly unbearable. One couple I interviewed abandoned the lifestyle after 6 months, describing it as inhabiting a moving closet. Storage presents another challenge. Cruise cabins weren't designed for permanent occupation. Closet space is minimal, drawer quantities are limited, and overall space is restricted. You're compelled toward minimalist living regardless of preference. Dismiss any hobbies requiring equipment or extensive clothing collections. Your life contracts to whatever fits in several luggage pieces. The concept seems appealing until implementation reveals the cabin isn't your refuge, it's your prison. Point 4. The mental burden of seclusion. This introduces perhaps the most unexpected difficulty, the psychological dimension. Theoretically, you're amid thousands of people, yet practically, extended cruise ship residence can produce profound isolation feelings. Consider the circumstances. You're disconnected from conventional existence, no spontaneous visits to preferred coffee establishments, no friend gatherings for meals, no family celebrations. Your complete social environment becomes whoever boards that particular week. Remember, 95% will depart by cruise conclusion. This perpetual rotation complicates authentic relationship development. You might encounter compatible couples, share multiple dinners and outings together, then they disembark permanently. Repeating this pattern continuously eventually creates the sensation of existing within a rotating entrance of fleeting associations. Beyond social aspects, the vessel itself creates bubble-like feelings. Identical corridors, dining spaces, and schedules. Your environment contracts to a floating accommodation facility. Vacationers find this enjoyable. Permanent inhabitants begin experiencing claustrophobia beyond merely physical constraints. Psychologists identify this as the golden cage phenomenon. Externally, luxury appears evident, but internally, confinement dominates. One retired individual articulated it perfectly. It resembles that repetitive day film, except external scenery varies. Internally, identical entertainment, identical buffets, identical surroundings persist. Eventually, excitement disappeared, replaced by trapped feelings. That represents the concealed cost that promotional materials never acknowledge. Point 5. Medical dangers concealed beneath. One significantly undervalued aspect of cruise ship existence involves your health. Most associate cruising with wellness, gourmet dining, tropical sunlight, and perpetual relaxation. However, extended shipboard residence places your body in genuinely challenging sustainable environments. Begin with the evident concern, disease transmission. Cruise vessels continuously gather thousands of globally sourced individuals in restricted areas. Weekly, fresh passenger groups board, each potentially carrying whatever respiratory illness, influenza, or gastrointestinal virus circulates in their origin location. Terrestrially, you can distance yourself from crowds when unwell. Aboard ship, you share buffet stations, elevators, and ventilation systems. Norovirus, influenza, even COVID, these spread rapidly. Permanent residents face continuous exposure. While ships maintain medical facilities, they're inadequate for extended care. They handle minor injuries effectively, sprained joints or throat infection prescriptions. Serious conditions, cerebrovascular incidents, cardiac arrests, even severe allergic responses, typically require evacuation. This proves expensive. Maritime medical evacuations cost tens of thousands. Without insurance coverage, you pay personally. Then there's the less apparent health danger, lifestyle deterioration. It's practically cliched that cruisers return heavier than departure. Buffets featuring fried items, dessert stations, unlimited alcoholic beverages, and midnight pizza become daily standards. Healthier alternatives exist, yet most struggle with restraint when temptation surrounds them. Onboard gyms help, but they're frequently smaller than hotel facilities, crowded during busy periods, and insufficiently equipped for serious training. If you're accustomed to comprehensive fitness centers, you'll feel restricted. Additionally, vessel motion makes certain exercises notably awkward. Multiple extended residents reported gaining 20 to 30 pounds during their initial ocean year. Not from neglect, but because the environment simply wasn't constructed for sustainable wellness. Combined with constant cocktails, rich dinners, and inconsistent routines, it creates health decline conditions. While brochures promise healthy, stress-free lifestyles, cruise ship reality can quietly erode your wellness, both physically and mentally. Point 6. The staff-guest separation. Initially, cruise ship existence appears communal. Guests interact jovially with staff, bartenders recall your preferences, servers assist with seating. It feels comfortable, individual, and even close. However, profound separation exists between guests and staff that becomes increasingly apparent during extended stays. Here's the explanation. Staff members experience completely different lives from passengers. They work 10 to 12-hour shifts, 6 or 7 days weekly. They occupy tiny shared windowless cabins below deck. Their dining facilities serve basic mass-produced meals, and their recreational spaces are significantly more limited than glamorous passenger areas. Extended stays make these disparities increasingly noticeable. You might develop friendliness with bartenders or cabin attendants, believing you've entered their world, but you haven't. Strict regulations govern staff-passenger interactions. Friendships face limitations, romantic relationships are frequently prohibited, and professional boundaries remain uncrossable. This places extended residents in peculiar limbo. You're no longer merely another tourist, yet you'll never truly belong to the cruise community either, and this can produce lonely feelings. Point 7. The perpetual transience. This introduces another substantial concealed challenge, the revolving community. Terrestrially, even with frequent relocation, some social stability typically exists. You maintain consistent friendships, familiar neighbors, colleagues, or at minimum a barista remembering your beverage preference. Aboard cruise ships, everyone constantly arrives and departs. Weekly, thousands of passengers disembark as brand new groups arrive. Extended residents watch people enter their lives, share meals, enjoy entertainment together, perhaps bond through excursions, then vanish the following Saturday upon docking. Initially, this creates excitement, resembling rapid-fire life connections, endless fresh faces, constant variation. Eventually, it becomes draining. You realize everyone else experiences once-in-a-lifetime vacations while you're trapped in perpetual introduction and farewell cycles. Developing profound, enduring friendships becomes nearly impossible. The sole constants are the limited other extended residents, often significantly older retirees with differing priorities. If you're younger or possess different interests, this disconnection becomes pronounced. One woman described it thus: it resembles being the student required to remain after school daily while others depart. You create friendships during sessions, but you're perpetually the one remaining. Eventually, that revolving entrance can produce rootless feelings. No home foundation exists, no genuine stability, and for most individuals, that proves emotionally exhausting in unexpected ways. Point 8. The jurisdictional and practical labyrinth. Now, let's transition to something less emotional yet equally stressful: logistics. Regular passengers don't contemplate these matters. You board with identification documents, enjoy your vacation, and disembark worry-free. Extended cruise ship residence suddenly places you in legal ambiguity. Consider taxation as an example. If you're ocean-bound for 10 annual months, where do you file? Do you maintain tax residency in your origin country? Do you qualify for expatriate exemptions? Different nations maintain different regulations, and complexity escalates rapidly. Healthcare presents another concern. Most standard insurance policies exclude extended maritime living coverage. What occurs when prescription refills become necessary? Some vessels permit limited arrangements, but frequently you'll need strategic port stop planning for medication collection. Miss the port? You might miss your medications. Visa requirements present another obstacle. Cruise routes visit multiple nations, and while cruise companies handle most port entries for passengers, extended stays can trigger scrutiny. Some residents have faced boarding denial due to expired visas or passport complications they didn't realize applied. Don't overlook simple logistics like banking, voting, or mail reception. You're at sea with no mailbox outside your entrance. Some establish mail forwarding services while others depend on family members at home, but seamlessness never exists. The fundamental point: cruise ship residence isn't merely about cabin payment and appearance. It's perpetual paperwork, laws, and loophole juggling. Most cruise companies won't assist with navigation. Their purpose is cabin sales, not life management. Point 9. The gradual adventure decline. One primary cruise living attraction involves waking somewhere new every few days. Tropical coastlines, Mediterranean urban centers, Alaskan fjords. It promises endless adventure, and initially delivers exactly that. However, novelty possesses limited duration. After months, previously magical ports begin blending together. Caribbean destinations can appear identical: souvenir shop rows, duty-free jewelry establishments, congested beaches. Even historic European locations lose sparkle when you're rushing through them scheduled, knowing you'll return in 2 weeks. Instead of exploration, it transforms into repetition. Travel becomes routine, and the very attraction, discovery excitement, fades into background static. Point 10. The unstable protection system. Most people forget cruise ships aren't designed as permanent residences. They're vacation vessels, meaning when problems arise, you lack the same safety infrastructure available terrestrially. Mechanical malfunctions can disable entire ship sections. Plumbing complications can leave decks without functional restrooms. Weather events or hurricanes can redirect complete routes overnight. In rare but genuine instances, fires, electrical failures, or viral epidemics, onboard existence can transform instantly. For week-long vacationers, it's an inconvenience requiring refunds and homeward journeys. Life continues. Extended residents face different circumstances. It's not merely a disrupted trip, but suddenly unstable housing. No house or apartment exists for fallback. Your complete world connects to this singular vessel. When it malfunctions, your lifestyle collapses with it. This fragility creates persistent low-intensity anxiety. You might not notice it daily, but subconsciously, you understand. Unlike terrestrial situations, you can't simply exit outside to escape blackouts, flooding, or neighborhood emergencies. You're at sea with your fate vessel-bound. Point 11. The quiet exhaustion. Combine everything: the financial drain, cabin confinement, health challenges, endless farewells, fading adventure sense, and you reach cruise living's ultimate cost: exhaustion. It doesn't occur suddenly. Initially, you feel liberated, breaking routines, meeting people, discovering new locations. Then, gradually, fractures appear. You stop anticipating dinner due to repetitive menus. You skip evening entertainment having witnessed it twice previously. You abandon certain ports having visited 10 times before. Excitement disappears, replaced by fatigue. The most dangerous aspect: you don't recognize it happening. Maritime exhaustion is gradual, creeping, and subtle. One day you simply awaken realizing the dream resembles a grind. For some, that's the breaking point where they abandon the lifestyle, craving normalcy, routine, stability, even mundane chores they previously wanted to escape. Others adapt, but their living the dream becomes more about tolerating negatives than enjoying positives. This explains why so few sustain cruise living long-term. Not because it's impossible, but because most discover what appears as freedom eventually feels like repetition. The exhaustion is genuine. Examining the full picture makes the troubling side of cruise ship existence clear. Luxury transforms into routine. Expenses escalate beyond expectations. Cabins feel restrictive. Community feels impermanent. Eventually, exhaustion settles in. However, it's not entirely negative. Some individuals flourish in this lifestyle, loving horizon awakenings, embracing the simplicity of not managing bills or chores, and finding joy experiencing the world from their floating residence. Therefore, my suggestion is this: if you've ever fantasized about cruise ship living, trial it first. Reserve an extended voyage, 30, 60, perhaps even 90 days, and experience it before committing. If you want to pursue that, examine the latest cruise opportunities from Cruise Direct. I've included links in the description. While there, obtain your complimentary guide containing 50 insider cruise strategies. It'll save money, help avoid beginner errors, and make your voyage significantly more enjoyable. Whether it's your initial cruise or your 15th, I'd appreciate hearing from you. What's the most unusual, amusing, or astonishing thing you've encountered on a cruise? Share it in the comments section. I consistently enjoy reading your experiences. If you're prepared to investigate even deeper, examine the video displayed now. It'll take you further behind cruising scenes and reveal things most passengers never discover. Your voyage is just commencing.